The name on the restaurant, we find out, is called A Fine dei Tempi. It's Fine dei Tempi, which is Italian for end of time. Is this a foreshadow to what's gonna come? Is this an end of time for us with the Waldo? There's something's about to end and we need to find out what it is. We see multiple waiters on the ground. They might have tripped, or this might be a seizure as they're shaking and looks like there's foam coming out. There's a couple more cameos that happen with the very famous Herobrine from Minecraft and the OG Roblox characters, you know, breaking it down on the dance floor. Now, you might also be able to spot some of our buddies from our previous video. As we found out before, there are 10 feet monstrous clowns all around this world, and in this picture there are precisely 3 of them, one of them peeking out the window, and there's also one peeking out from near the kitchen doors, which surprisingly have blood dripping out from the bottom of it. Now, this restaurant is once again not one that really cares for hygiene, with cats and dogs just running rampant. Now, once again, these were all the details that I was able to spot, and I am as observant as a blind cat. But clearly the scene holds a lot more. Now, this is just the Find Waldo portion. The dialogue is where a lot of things start to break down. And once again, he is a very self-righteous ass. I have to say, the guy's a douchebag. He's annoying. However, he is not without his sense of humor. And with Waldo eating a bloody steak, he decides that, you know, humans may not want to have it. And he gives us very nicely alphabet soup, which has the word enemy floating around in it. But, you know, to each his own. However much of a douchebag I think Waldo is, he decides to entertain either himself or us. Now let's just ask him 3 questions. And that is where the video cuts. Presumably so that the comments can thrust in their own questions and give good suggestions. I'm not sure if Lumpy already planned out all the answers beforehand, the questions and answers beforehand. But I definitely had a good chuckle going through all the comments with the very famous of, have you won wigs?
No, I have not.
Will you wear wigs?
Maybe.
When will you wear wigs? Which I think is a very important question for Waldo. Does he wear wigs? Because that hair seems pretty luscious. Now, if you guys want to have a good chuckle, go ahead and read the comments under video 8. Now, the next part is called Stage 9, the interview. This is where we get to ask 3 questions to Waldo.
Wheres Waldo.
he's basically playing vigilante. He's eliminating cancers, as he says. He's playing the biggest morality experiment and trying to play his part in something grandiose. Now, after getting an answer to at least some of his motivations, which doesn't answer a whole lot for us, we still left a lot more questions. What is this something that is more grandiose? Why did those people deserve to die? Because we don't know about any of the victims. We don't know who they are, what they've done. All we know is that they were left a bloody mess. The detective asks Waldo, "Where's Waldo?" To which it was a very, very unexpected reaction. Waldo breaks out in a sweat. Not something you would expect from this psychopathic, paranormal serial killer, but also not something you expect to a simple question of where is Waldo? The reason I mentioned the 5 W's is because there are 5 questions to help establish something. It is where, what, when, why, and who. 5 W's, 5 Waldos. We already know there's a where's a Waldo. And now Waldo seems so shocked and he said, "That's me." So is there a why Waldo? And why is Waldo? Which will actually kind of correlate to why is he doing this, which is why he didn't get a good answer, because this wasn't when's Waldo. This was where's Waldo? Is there a what's Waldo? A question that we really need answered. Is there a who's Waldo or when's Waldo? Because clearly this guy seems to be breaking parameters of time, or just at least the linear dimensions, really. But in a very dark twist, Waldo asks us a question, which is fair. We asked him 3, he deserves to ask 1. Who were you supposed to have dinner with today? When that question was asked, personally, when I first saw it, chills ran down my back. Something that shows that Waldo really does know us. Video 11 resembles a very popular game that I have referenced a little bit earlier called Five Nights at Freddy's. This is home security cameras, which depict 3 Waldos, not 4, 3. And we know that they're not there for just a cup of tea. The video cuts there and takes us straight into the next video, which is a reference to yet another like older games where it's a third-person car racing game. The next video takes us straight into a time skip. This is 3 years ahead. Right here, something interesting happens. Do you remember the characters I mentioned earlier? Kind of when giving the Waldo's backstory. There was Wilma, Wenda, Oddlaw, Wolf, and Wizard Whitebeard. Now when we enter video 13, something very interesting happens. For when the camera pans down, we see the name of the wife. Wenda Waldini. I don't know about you, but that seems pretty suspicious. Not only the fact that the name is Wenda, the name of Wally's friend, but Waldini. The last name is Waldini. Waldini? Waldo? Something really interesting is happening here. Now, Waldini is not just a random last name in the world, and the fact that it's similar to Waldo is also not a coincidence. A quick Google search didn't lend me too much, but it showed me that it was referenced as the name of Mama Waldini, Waldo's mother, which make Waldo Waldini. There's a reason Waldo knows us so well. That would mean that we are in fact also have the last name Waldini. Now Waldo doesn't have any siblings that we know of, and we have only always seen 4 Waldos, but Waldo himself told us we are 5. Are we a Waldo? Are we the 5th Waldo that is roaming this world? But if we are, why is Waldo trying to kill our wife? But if in case Wenda never took our last name, and we were always having 2 different last names, that would mean that Wenda was Waldini, means she was most likely Waldo's sister, at least in this headcanon. Why did he kill his own sister? Why is he playing with his own family so much? What grudge does he have against his brother-in-law to the point where he will go and kill his own sister? Why not kill us? Why make us suffer by killing his own flesh and blood? I think unless we find out more, this is all that we have left to go with. That detective is either the 5th Waldo or is Waldo's brother-in-law, which once again does not clear any of his motivations. They're as clear as mud. In either way, well, the detective declines, and that is when our prospective employer notices that a child is gone. Which is another very heart-dropping moment when you're reading about it. You're like, what? Where did the child go? And this becomes yet another game of Find Waldo. Now this one had a lot of things that I have noticed. So I will try and go through them as quickly as possible. Oh, we also know that Waldo can see the future, which is why he was able to predict him walking out of the restaurant and harm of him just walking out of the restaurant. Now, in this pretty morbid cemetery funeral scene, we see a black cat monster just sitting on the road. We see a black cat crossing the road and scaring the crap out of some guy. We see a UFO, a clown in the corner of the screen, a squishmallow monster down the bottom of the screen, and some guy just chilling down there. We see a Dracula popping out of his coffin and dealing with a police officer that ended up opening the coffin. We see Baldy from Baldy's Basics just chilling in the middle of the road. Garfield and Odie both make an appearance also in the middle of the road. We see a purple car at the bottom of the screen. Purple guy? Now we also see a guy just pretty like grim looking guy wheeling a wheelbarrow in the middle of a graveyard, which is always really weird and scary. We see a lady in red just chilling. Is this a statue on top of a gravestone? Is this La Llorona? We will not know. We see red eyes in a tomb, which only means that the adventure is not over for anybody standing by near it, or if anybody tries to use any magic down there. We also see yet another reference to Undertale. I told you there'll be more. If you look in the middle left of the screen, we can see what looks like Stan's brother Papyrus and Frisk going at it. They're either fighting or dancing or something's happening, but the characters do really resemble those from Undertale. Overall, pretty eventful day at the cemetery, I will say. So with this scene, with us finding June here, we can relax. We can go home and we can move on with our life, right? The detective can slowly start patching his life together, taking care of his son. Maybe it's finally time to heal. Nope, it's not. Because right in the next video, that sucker is back. Now, the 14th video is called The Return. He raises his hands and he surrenders. He's smiling. There's something up his sleeve. Now, in the meantime, also on the scene, you'll find a black figure on the bottom of the screen. Is that Slenderman? We do not know. We find Bill Cipher in the other corner of the screen, just chilling in the woods. We also find on the top screen, we'll find Kirby, we'll find Pac-Man, we'll find lots of clowns walking. Like, there's way too many clowns for this. We find yet another purple guy. Honestly, there's more purple guys than Waldos in this series. Once again, no death has happened. Nobody is actually dying. It is a very peaceful scene, but clearly it's not over. Now, this was where I first started exploring the series. There was only 14 videos. While in the making of this video and writing all the stuff down, Lumpy released the 15th. Breaking news. There was a news segment with a woman talking excitedly about how Waldo has surrendered himself without any casualty, without any fight. He just gave himself up. The detective isn't having it. The detective is upset. So, thank you guys so much for coming in and sitting in to yet me another rambling about another topic that I found. This was really interesting. Like, I did not expect Waldo to have so much history about it, and I've been talking everybody's ear off about it when I was like playing the video. I'm like, did you know that this was actually an art form that goes back 100 years? And they're like just like, shut up. So, but overall, this was a very interesting video to make, and I know Lumpy has multiple series happening. So, if you guys are into something that's like, these pixel animations are insane. Like, they're so well done, they're so thorough, and I think this is so very well done, and I can't wait for the new installment. And you know damn well that I'm gonna make a new video when there's a new installment. I think I will leave you guys right here, at least till the next video. Wait, what's that over there? Psych! Hello. It is now end of September. The original video was filmed roughly end of August, beginning of September. And just a few days ago, Lumpy has released a 16th video. Remember how I said at the time of recording there were 15 videos? There's a 16th. So this video is a season finale, and it's much more of a storytelling episode, which helps us tie in all these things together, which when I watched it, I personally like my eyes on because of the realizations. And I think we were correct in some of these things, guys. I think we hit the nail on the head a couple of times, and I'll go more into details about it. So let's go through what the episode consists of. The first, we started with an action shot, good old action shot. Uppercut to the chin, you know, some good old strangling action. And this is the first time we actually see our protagonist. We see the detective. And that's where we're wrong. The detective is not another Waldo. You know, it was an outlandish idea. It was really out of left field, and we had very circumstantial evidence with which we could piece any sort of conclusion. But we'll talk about it later and how it ties into the whole marriage to Wenda Waldini. We see him take out 2 guards and use the scan card of the professor that we saw him talking to in the previous episode. So clearly something happened, whether he decided to partner up with the doctor anyway, or whether they didn't partner up and he just stole the doctor's card, or even whether he harmed the doctor in any way. But what it also says is that the doctor had the access to the prison. The doctor had the access to the place where Waldo was held, but he wanted to take Waldo down. So either this is the experimental institute where they put the Waldo, because that's what from what the doctor was talking earlier, or the doctor did have ulterior motives when speaking to the detective. He didn't want his genuine help and his genuine knowledge. He wanted the detective to also be essentially a test subject of sorts. Once again, I think that's pretty outlandish, but I think what more makes sense is that the doctor obtained the custody of the Waldo to make experiments and find out what it is like. What are they? Why do they have powers? How to control it? But that's something that we might need to wait for a second season if that comes out. So please, pretty please, I'm really invested in the story. Like, so Lumpy, if you're watching, you're probably not, but please. Do you remember when we talked about the who, what, when, where, and why Waldos? And how Waldo himself said there were 5 of us? We see Waldo walk over to the cell bars, and we get a shot of his back, which with big, bold letters says, who? Who is Waldo? That's the question. When he comes out of the shadow, we see that it's not Waldo at all. It's Outlaw. The character that I mentioned way back in the beginning of this episode. Waldo's arch nemesis, the exact opposite of him, really, because Outlaw is just Waldo spelled backwards. His color scheme is completely off. It's black and yellow. It's not red and white. But however, red and yellow are not opposites. The opposite of yellow is blue, light blue for being specific. We take a pentagon and stick it on the color wheel, and we put red as one of the axes. What the color right beside it? will be yellow. Pentagon, 5 points, 5 Waldos, 5 questions. Now, this is really me just pulling and grasping at straws here, but I thought it was a like very interesting parallel that they're not the opposite. They're quite close to each other. They're part of the Pentagon. Now the others are cyan, blue, and magenta, so now they're getting a little funky with them colors, the Waldos. All Luck Comes Close says, I'm not the Waldo that killed your wife, but I'll take you to them. In that scene. And that's the title card. Wow. That's an insane video. The graphics were insane. It felt like a real action movie that I got so invested and then it was just